This story is about my best friend. For privacy, let's call him Capil. I was an eyewitness to everything I'm about to share, and to this day, it remains one of the most chilling nights of my life. Whenever I think back to it, I get goosebumps. It all happened during the lockdown in 2021. Like many others, we were stuck at home with nowhere to go. Everything felt quiet and eerie back then. The streets were empty, businesses were closed, and life seemed to have come to a standstill. But while the world outside was silencing inside Kapil's home, Kapil had been telling me about these really disturbing dreams he had been having for a while now. They weren't ordinary bad dreams. He described them as being painfully vivid, so real that he would wake up drenched in sweat and breathing heavily like he had actually been there. He said that these dreams always happened around the same time, between 2 and 3. He also mentioned experiencing sleep paralysis. I'd heard about sleep paralysis before, but I had never experienced it myself. Still, I could tell how much it was affecting him. Every time he talked about it, his voice would shake slightly, and his eyes would dart around like he expected something to be there, lurking in the shadows. Around this time, our exams were quickly approaching, so one evening, I decided to go over to Kapil's place for a night study session. His parents were out of town at the time, which meant we had the whole house to ourselves. We studied for hours, often going over notes with each other. Before we knew it, it was well past midnight. Exhausted, we decided to call it a night. Sometime around 1 a.m., Kapil's bedroom had 2 single beds, one on each side of the room, with a window in between them. I took the bed near the door, while his was pushed up against the opposite wall. As I got under the covers, I couldn't help but notice how unnervingly quiet the house was. The neighborhood was completely still, the kind of silence that feels heavy, almost unnatural. It was so quiet that I could hear my own heartbeat as I lay there slowly drifting off. I did think it was weird, but didn't let it bother me too much, and eventually I just drifted off to sleep. Around 3 a.m., I was jolted awake by a faint rustling sound. At first, I thought I'd imagined it, but then I heard it again. I sat up and rubbed my eyes, realizing that the sound was coming from Kapil's side of the room. When my eyes landed on Kapil, he was thrashing around, desperately and violently trying to move, but couldn't, and his eyes were wide open, staring at nothing in pure terror. I immediately knew it was sleep paralysis without thinking. I grabbed my water bottle from the nightstand, unscrewed the cap, and sprinkled a few drops of water on his face. I had no idea if it would help. Thankfully, it actually ended up working. He snapped out of it, gasping sharply as he sat up in his bed. I was about to ask him if he was okay when we both heard it. The distinct sound of a plate dropping in the kitchen, the hair on the back of my neck wide with fear. We were both frozen, instantly terrified. Neither of us dared to go check it out. Then, to our horror, the same sound came again. This time, it was louder. We just stayed frozen in our beds, listening. After a few minutes, which felt like hours at the time, the tension in the room slowly began to fade a bit. I asked Kapil what had happened to him. According to him, a totally black shadow had crept out of the corner of the room and slowly climbed onto his chest. It was featureless, with no eyes, no mouth, just an amorphous dark shape. But he could feel its weight pressing down on him, making it impossibly to scream or even move his hands, but he couldn't. We didn't speak another word that night. We just huddled under our blankets, too scared to move or even breathe loudly. It was a truly terrible night for us. After that night, I never tried to sleep at his home again. Kapil later told me he continued to experience similar encounters even after that night. Shadows in the corners of his room, whispers just as he fell asleep, the feeling of something watching him in the dark now. Kapil is in the UK, and we don't talk about that experience much anymore. But that night, the broken plates, the terror we felt, is something I'll never forget.